Hi, how are you? Okay, I'll take hazelnut, cold foam, cold brew, please. What size? Pardon? What size? Oh, 24 ounce, please. Okay, thanks. I'll just wait down here for it. Okay, I just need to grab red pepper flakes. Oh. Excuse me, can I just reach past you right there?
And how are y'all doing today?
For a large majority of my life, I've worked in customer service. I worked at Toys R Us, I worked at Radio Shack, I have worked at Blockbuster in my earlier formative years. I have worked at many places. Yes, you're probably dating me right now, thinking that I'm really old. I am. I'm 28 years old. I have worked at places you wouldn't even dream or dare to imagine. I've worked at Walmart, I've worked at Target, and oftentimes I'll get very obvious, nagging questions from customers. This is very just infuriating to say the least, but oftentimes I would have to say, "Of course, sir. It's right here. Of course, sir. Thank you, sir." This was draining on my mental health. It was emotional self-harm to me. It messed up my entire mindset. It made my brain leak out of my ears. It destroyed me up. But then something magical happened. I think we all got tired of working 26 jobs and part-time jobs and DoorDashing and Ubering. And then a movement started. A power move. One might say Gen Z stare. People have been coining this phrase, the Gen Z stare. I don't think it's a look. No. I think it's a weaponized pause, is what I'd call it. It's the emotional equivalent of alt tapping out of a conversation, is what I'd say. You tell a joke, and then I stare at you. I just look at you. That's the Gen Z stare. What do Gen Zs do? You ask them how their day was, they just stare. It's a worthless question. That small talk doesn't matter. It's not getting me paid more. You say something that would have gotten a laugh in 2012 during the edgy Neon Cat era, they just stare at you some more, as if you just farted out a eulogy. Just garbage. The Gen Z stare is a silent judgment. Made visual is what it is. It's a full body eye roll with none of the effort. And if you work in customer service, especially retail or food, especially when I worked at McDonald's or Waffle House, this stare becomes a daily boss battle. And let me tell you something here. The boss battle requires charisma, and they do not have it. Currently, I work at Amazon. I am a stower. I work pick, I work pack, and I work decant. If you don't know what that is. Decant is when you take the things off of the truck and open them in boxes and put them in different crates so they can go up to stow, to be organized, and to pick, and then pick gets transferred to pack. That's kind of how the Smile Company operates. If you're curious about how the chain of command operates, now you know. The veil has been thrown down. You guys can figure that out. I used to work in a lot of customer service jobs. I used to work as a telephone receptor for a cable company called Buckeye Cable System in Toledo, Ohio. That was horrifying. I used to work at the Detroit Electric Company, the DTE. That sucked too. And oftentimes, customers would say something so infuriatingly stupid, I would have to mute my microphone. And when I worked at Walmart, I had to look these people in the face. I had to smile through any stupid question they ask. One time, I was in the chip aisle right next to some Pringles, and a person asked me, "Hey, do you guys have any Pringles?" As we both were eye level to the Pringles. Now, Gen Z has done this revolutionary thing where they just do no emotion, no response, just presence. You say, "How are you today?" And they look at you like they're trying to manifest your deletion, as they're trying to delete you in their brain. The stare says, "I heard you. I processed it. I simply don't care." It's not mean. It's just completely devoid of performance, completely devoid of presence, as if you're speaking to a robot. You see, millennials, myself, were raised on fake smiles. Boomers were raised on shaking hands like it meant something. You gotta look them in the eyes. Gen Zs, they were raised on TikTok and societal collapse. That's what happened. There was no need to have these well thought out communications and things of that variety where you can send a meme that encapsulates everything you're feeling, because that's how it's happened. The Gen Z stare is a natural response to overstimulation. You dissociate. You break down. The process is destroying your brain. It's what happens when your brain is too tired to panic and too numb to fake a vibe. They're not trying to offend you. They're just communicating in a language that requires no facial muscles, period. Fun fact, did you know eyebrows were here just for communication? Did you know that we have eyebrows up here for communication? That's a fun little fact. And here's the thing. Here's a fun thing. I used to work in customer service, which means my job was to be upbeat, friendly and helpful, even if I'm delayed order away from snapping like a breadstick. I'm just one delayed, I can feel it. I can feel the straw that broke the camel's back inside my brain. So when I say, hi, welcome, how can I help you today? With my most stable, practiced, capitalistic, mandated tone, when I get that, when that happens to me, and someone says, yeah, and a stupid question, I want to respond with the nonsense. I want to do that because I want to fold. I want to glitch. I want to start buffering like a YouTube video on hotel Wi-Fi. I really do. But because I was raised not to do that, I have a disconnect with this. But I understand the Gen Z stare. It isn't just a response. It's a refusal to participate in the script. It's going off the beaten path, all this nonsense, all the jazz, and looking around and saying, yeah, I'm not participating in the movie you want me to engage in. I'm not your cast and crew. I'm not your behind the scenes. That's not how I operate. It's fourth wall. It's fourth wall breaking is what it is. It's disgusting for a lot of people. It's saying, I see the performance. I reject the performance and I'm not clapping. And listen, I get it. Small talk is cringe. It's annoying. It's actually mind-numbing. It's the worst thing I've ever experienced. And the best part is that bosses will strict you down, write you up for the Gen Z stare, things of that variety. And when they're in customer service jobs, they're paid to talk to you because it's a corporation telling me I have to emotionally babysit strangers for $13 an hour and zero healthcare because you don't get healthcare here. This is McDonald's. Oftentimes, you'll see a very polite customer service worker approach a Gen Zer who is a customer, and they'll do the Gen Z stare back at them because they don't want to interact. They're barely able to get up out of bed every morning. They don't even want to be there in the store to get the items they need to process. And so you walk up and say, hey, what's going on? How's it hanging? And you just get hit with nothingness. And that's the reverse action. That's just, I don't care. I'm not here to just, I don't even know. I know where everything is in the store. I was born here. I know this store. You don't have to tell me anything. And then you just, as if you're offended, as if you're deeply offended by them not wanting to engage with corporate slop. That's what's happening. I think it's the final nail in the coffin for polite society. That's how I feel about the Gen Z stare. That's the exact motion I feel. It's the funeral of, how's your day going? It's the cremation of, thank you, have a nice one. And honestly, I respect it. I really do respect it. Because when you work in customer service long enough, you realize that most people are NPCs with laggy pathing. That's all they are. I've had customers, right? I've had customers throw coins at me like I was a wishing well, ask me where the bathroom was while making zero eye contact. I eat a sandwich eat halfway through the sandwich, whole thing, and say, this is disgusting. All right, why'd you eat most of the sandwich then? I've had, this is the craziest complaint I've ever got. And I've had many, but this is the craziest and it stuck with me. Someone complained to my manager one time when I was working at Big Boys, Frisch's Big Boys, because I blinked too slowly. My blink rhythm, my circadian blinking rhythm was not enough for their brain to be happy with. So when Gen Z walks up and just stares, no complaint, no lie, no performance, just that wide-eyed, mildly dissociating, the I'm not here to vibe with you stare, it's a little refreshing. As a customer service worker, when I witnessed that, and when you're witnessing it in customer service and you're getting it done to the thing, it's fun to drop the veil, isn't it? Because sometimes it lets you realize how stupid either your question was or how annoying it is to be a corporate slave to the grind. It's good both ways. It's bisexual, the stare, in that aspect. It feels great. I believe there's a myth about eye contact, as if eye contact commands presence, authority. Boomers back in the day, they think it's respect. They say, oh, this is respect. You gotta look me in the eyes. Millennials start to shy a little bit away from eye contact, but they still do it because it means they're in a higher plateau. The Gen Z, it's a pure declaration of war, is what it is. It does not feel good. Making eye contact with anybody from Gen Z is like shining a flashlight at a raccoon. And you'll get the slow head toot, the slight squint, that unspoken. Why would you do that? Why would you look me right in the eyes? This doesn't make any sense. This is insane. Why would you do that? It's insane. Because they don't trust anyone making too much eye contact. To them, eye contact is what cops in jobs interviews do, which is fair because that's exactly what they do. They're suspicious of anyone who seems too emotionally available because it's not real. To be clear, it's not real. So when they stare blankly, it's not rudeness, it's protection, it's minimalism, it's facial energy conservatism, whatever the word is. They're conserving their facial energy is the word I'm trying to get across. That's what I'm trying to do. They're not being disrespectful. They're being efficient. Because you got to grasp this, right? In this day and age, in this common economy, in this disgusting filth slop that we call the American system and inflation politics where Dollar Tree is $1.25 tree, they have 4 jobs, 3 side hustles, and a mental breakdown all before 11 p.m. Just all boned up together. That's a day's work. It's a day's work. They got part-time jobs, DoorDashers, they got Uber Eats, they got Grubhub, they got every Postmates. They got I just discovered Postmates. Didn't know about Postmates for a long time. They got Instacart. They have Shift Smart. They have just so much garbage to have to go through a day. And people are angry at that. People are angry at the aspect that Gen Z is overstimulated. It feels asinine to get mad at them for that. I believe this is a natural progression in evolution. It's a logical conclusion to late stage capitalism. This is because we're deeply in late stage capitalism. It started off as a cool idea, but it's gotten horrifying. It's the customer service workers' final boss is what's happening here. It's the world's most polite rebellion. It can be jarring at times, but compared to fake smiles and small talk about the weather, I'll take the blank stare. Because at least it's honest. At least it's real. That's all I ever want from people. At least it doesn't ask me to pretend that we're both okay when clearly neither of us are. We're getting paid pennies on the dollar. It's ridiculous. So next time a Gen Z customer or Gen Z person that is in customer service stares at you, says nothing, and just does nothing, please don't take it personally. They're not being cold. They're just not pretending it's normal. They're tired of pretending. It's because it's not normal. It's not. I feel like we all forgot something deep about before we had social media. We forget that being polite was once survival. You couldn't talk to your boss. The HR was against you. They cared about the company more than anything. There was no risk of an entire business getting shut down because of one viral TikTok. The generations before Gen Z smiled through their teeth because there were consequences for not performing. And then there's Gen Z. If they lose a job, they could probably become a YouTube star. They could probably do something else. They could probably become a TikTok star, going viral off the video of them losing their job because they're not performing. They're too exhausted to lie with their face. And when you're that emotionally overdrawn, the stare becomes currency, becomes the last thing you can give without giving yourself away. See, working at customer service, you begin to learn that people don't really see you as a person. When I was younger, I even was subject to this because I didn't know what anybody at Chuck E. Cheese did. I just knew the rat came out. I just didn't really care. I didn't know about the back stock rooms or anything of that variety until I actually worked there. Had no idea. They were just a yes man in khakis, a meat button they pressed to get things. That's all it was. So when I see the Gen Z stare and everybody complaining about it, maybe they're not being rude. Maybe they're the first ones who say, yeah, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. I hate everything about this. But they're not saying it with their mouth. They're saying it with just a blank stare. We made a whole world, at least in America, where connection became labor, where eye contact was monetized, where asking, how are you, became less about care and more about protocol. That's what happened. Maybe it's Gen Z's way of saying, I know you're just here to survive. I won't make you act. Maybe the blank look is actually the most human thing that they can give us. Maybe that's what it is. So I say let them stare. Let them blink once, one time, slowly like an overworked cat. Let them process the world in silence because we're all going to be cogs in this collapsing machine. The least we can do is skip the small talk and meet each other in the shared quiet truth that we are tired, we are aware, we are so done pretending that we don't see the cracks in actively everything. Little fun story just before I get up out of here. There was a moment when I was in customer service and it wasn't dramatically or cinematically or anything of that variety. It was insane. And because I was in fluorescent purgatory in Walmart because it keeps the same fluorescent lights going on. In the moment the customer walks up, eyes glazed, lips unmoving, it just stands there. No greeting, no question, just presence. And I locked eyes with him. I just waited. It just said nothing. And then I realized, I said, "Hi, how are you?" And they just looked at me and walked away. And it was a younger kid. It was a younger kid. And I was a little happy about that because I wasn't forced to go through a conversation. And I remember this so deeply. And I don't even sure if it was apathy. It didn't feel like apathy. It felt like they cared. It was more so scanning me up and down as they were picking apart my entire life. Like, I'm better than you. But it wasn't even an I'm better you stare. It was more so, do we really have to do this today? It's nice. It's a fun thing. It's as if it was studying me as if I was a part of a dying species, as if I was an endangered mammal being observation pinned to the dish, as if I was a butterfly. That's the comparison I always go for when I think about pinned to the dish, because I think about butterflies and things of that variety. And this was very prevalent at 1 a.m. Walmart when I was walking through stocking shelves, and somebody would just not interact with me at all. And I was trained to talk to people. So and I've always thought the greeter role at Walmart was such a relic. The guy who friends with the friend says, "Hello." I believe it was for old people. That's why they have the greeter role and things of that variety. But it feels so ridiculous to have an old person just there. Customer service, it's as if I'm waterboarded with smiles. That's what happens. You gotta greet strangers as if they're long lost friends. If we know each other, we don't. I'm never gonna see this person ever again. They're gonna remember me and not tip me. That's really what's gonna happen. I'm expected to laugh at a joke that sounds garbage. Just a garbage joke. Fake laughter for no reason. It's all, it's so performative. I just don't like it. I have seen so many people, boomers especially, complain about this Gen Z stare, saying that it's disrespectful, it's dishonest, they shouldn't have a job if they don't want to be there, things of that variety. I failed to realize, I mean, more so, I think they failed to realize that we are in late stage, deep capital. We are in the worst era ever. We're just in the worst part of it. This is really bad for everybody, and none of us want to go to work. None of us want to work. It's not as if, oh, a job will save your life. A job will do everything. I am one paycheck missed away from homelessness, essentially, before getting evicted, before I'm getting threatened by my landlord. Every single moment of every single day, I'm stressing about things that constantly coalesce inside of my brain as if they're echoing over and over again, an echo chamber of nothing but nihilistic doom posters all the time. And scrolling will not make it better. I stopped scrolling altogether. I don't use TikTok, Reels, or Shorts at all. I just don't. Because every time I scroll through with somebody complaining, I'm not going to make my rent this week, I started to go from me and got $2. This is bad. It's horrifying to witness all these sob stories and sadness over and over again. What the issue is that the most vocal group are the people that are suffering the most because they need somebody to hear them. That's the worst part. The most vocal group are the people suffering the most because nobody's hearing them. That's why you hear so much about it. And sometimes when you've been screaming and screaming and screaming, your voice will get hoarse, your eyes will get dry from crying, and you'll lose all motion in your body. And I think the Gen Z stare is a coalescence of all the anger of that. And if you're a boomer or a millennial angry that somebody is just not interacting or engaging with you, or you ask a very stupid question and they just look at you as if you are the zenith, the peak at the mountain of Mount Everest or Olympus Mons on Mars. You are the top of Mount Olympus. You are the only one. You are the biggest, just degenerate of all time. That's all you are. You just nobody that deserves anything in any capacity. Then by all means, you should really reevaluate yourself about how everyone else is living. Because I think that's class consciousness. That's what I think it is. It feels as if it's class consciousness. Anyways, I'm done yammering and ranting about this topic. Please remember.
I'm your nigga night, be my Laurel Angelo. Ooh, happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you